Hello and welcome. And this week we're going to be talking about synchronicity, and we've got Joanne Lee, Jennifer Duckworth, and Anita Madcock with us. Okay, so synchronicity. Who's had something synchronistic happen to them this week?
I found it quite funny that we all linked in on the cards that we'd shown this week. I've enjoyed that. And are we all spot on? Is there variations? You know, everybody reads differently, don't they?
They do.
With a card.
They do.
So we have
the card that was shared in the Facebook group.
That's the Fool.
Yeah.
The Fool one. Yeah, I've looked at it and I thought, that is blind faith to me. That's stepping off a ledge. As the book says, feel the fear and do it anyway. So, yeah, it's faith in what you're doing. But in the same respect, we're all nervous at taking that first step, aren't we? No matter what it is. You know, if it's a new job or a new friendship, or, you know, you're moving somewhere new, it's all frightening at first.
Going live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Definitely going live on Facebook, yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. So for those who are new to this podcast and this group, the Facebook group is all about, and this podcast is all about helping you to develop your spiritual gifts and understand more. So this week we've shared a card. Claire has shared a card in the Facebook group for everybody to look at and give their own personal interpretation of the card. And this week it was the Fool from the tarot card. And it's really interesting how everyone reads it differently. And it is synchronicity, really, how quite often how you read it is how it's meant to be and how pertinent it is to you at that time. So Mama Jen read it as I've read it several times about maybe looking before you leap, and the Fool sort of takes that unknown step without knowing where he's going, and there's a little dog in the picture card that warns him off from coming near the edge of the cliff. Whereas that's how I often read it, but today I read it completely differently. That leap of faith is needed. And then when I looked at the colours around it, which was yellow, and I saw the sun, and I saw a beautiful ornament in his hand. And then today when I looked at the card, the ground underneath the platform didn't seem too far away, which gave me that feeling and that strong sense that a leap of faith is what was needed and that it was safe to take. But that's not how I read it every time. That's not how everybody else. So the cards quite often are sort of synchronistic in how you read them or how they're interpreted, depending on what's happening for you at that time. So maybe Anita or Jo, you might want to expand on that a little from your experiences.
Lenny, go first.
Definitely. When I read cards, obviously, I've in fact, actually, I've done some for myself today. And the funny thing is, the first card that came out actually was on about going for change, doing something the unexpected. And obviously it's been big shifts in my life as well. Whereas, you know, career change, so going back into holistic work, doing a lot more psychic and mediumship work again. So that, you know, that makes total sense to me. So with the Fool as well, yeah, you can read it different ways when you're reading cards for other people. 1 minute it could mean one thing, and then suddenly something else will come into the reading, which is quite unexpected because it's probably not what you expect on the card. That's why it's always perfect not to have a full message on a card, because you're actually using that card to tune in. You're not actually using the card to actually read from it as such, as literally read. What you're doing is you're using your vibration and your intuition to actually pull that information from all sources. And that's what it's all about, really. It's about you not being afraid, and this is what I'm getting for all the other viewers as well, not being afraid to take the step. However, you must take that first step to then progress. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And like you today, I think how I read it today was verification, because I'm also leaving my current place of work this week and taking that leap of faith. So it was very relevant card for me that it came up today as well, and you know how I read it. And it's also fascinating now when you're reading the cards, the synchronicity of other cards that come out in the pack as well, because quite often you can pull what seem to be 3 completely unrelated cards, but when you look at them, they tell a story that forms a bigger picture of the situation as well, which always absolutely fascinates me and is always absolutely spot on for what you need. So Jo, tell us what your thoughts are and experiences.
So when I'm using cards to read either for myself or for somebody else, I don't, like Anita, I don't read the book, I don't read the explanations. A lot of my cards only have single words on or pictures, they don't have a big sentence or paragraph. But if they do, I kind of have a quick look at that, but it's more about what I feel with the card, because I'm clairsentient dominant, so it's what I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll feel that before I even pick the cards or I turn them over. And I really focus on the images. So I'm looking at what the picture's telling me, I'm looking at what the colours, how they make me feel. And you're right, there is so much synchronicity. I always pick the right card at the right time and it makes sense. And even the number of cards that I pick, I kind of intuitively just tune in, and I might pick 3 one day, I might pick 1 as a card for the day, I might pick 10. But it's whatever comes to mind that I need that for that particular reading. And it's all right. And you're right, they look completely separate and unrelated, but it's like making a storyboard. When you put them all together, it turns out there's so many synchronicities that it is literally a story and showing you a path.
Brilliant. I'm aware that we're actually using this term synchronicity over and over again, but we've not actually given sort of an explanation of what we mean by synchronicity. And some people might call it coincidence, but with synchronicity, it's more than just coincidence. It's when things happen that seem very strange, you know, and just completely relevant. And well, someone said, well, that's a coincidence. I met you. I was just thinking about you this morning. And often it's not actually that it is coincidence, it's synchronicity, because that's meant to happen at that particular time. And that happening at that particular time can also cause a sequence of events that you also need to encounter at that piece of time. So whether with the cards, we're talking about synchronicity of the cards, the fact that you've pulled a card and it's like, wow, you know, that's really relevant to what I'm doing at the moment. Well, that's synchronicity, because you need to hear that message at the moment. You know, that's not coincidence. That card is telling you what you need to hear, as are the other cards that are coming into the pile. It's almost like they're meant to be there. They're giving you that information that you need, and it's just about being able to tune into that information and recognise it for what it is. Often we did a video a couple of weeks back where we were talking about the signs. You know, signs that spirit are trying to contact us, or angels are trying to contact us, and synchronicity is one of the ways in which they do that. So if anyone else wants to talk a little bit more about that or share any experiences, we'd like to.
Yeah, I can say, obviously recently I've been doing quite a few readings and professionally. So yes, everyone, I do card readings professionally. So you know, and it's strange how things can happen. What I tend to do when I'm actually doing a reading for anyone, the sitter, which is the person that's actually sitting, having the reading done, is I will pick out from one deck first during the reading. So I'll get them to shuffle them, but then I will pick the cards out and then I'll read for them. And then the second deck, which is totally different, I will find that obviously I'll get them to shuffle them again, and then I ask them to pick the cards out for themselves. So what will happen then is you can guarantee that the cards overlap, or they come out with the same words on the cards, even though they're totally different decks. You know, Jo, you mentioned before about colours. You know, that's a big, you'll find that a lot. You'll get the same colours, same numbers, like I said, the same wording, even the same text sometimes. You know, I like the shape of the text.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable, really. Or even looking at the pictures can be very, very alike, even though the decks can be completely different. So I've noticed that quite a lot recently. And just going off the subject, just to tell you a little tale, like I always do every week when I'm on. Something happened to me, and I spoke to Jo about this earlier, but I usually have a delivery on a Saturday from Tesco. So obviously, so I don't have to carry the shopping due to mobility, etc. So we normally have a certain delivery driver that comes each week. But this week, I had a feeling it was going to be a different driver, which I have seen quite a few times. Not seen them a lot, but I've seen a few times. And I actually visualised him. I actually visualised him way before he was due to come. And I said to my husband, I wonder if blah, blah, driver's coming today, because obviously I'm not going to say his name, the original driver. And he said, I don't know. So it's strange. I've actually just had a picture of the other driver, because obviously it can be anyone, because they have quite a lot of drivers. I said, but this guy I've not seen for a long time, but I'm sure that he's coming today. Sure enough, about 2 hours later, he actually was knocking on my door. So synchronicity, it can come in different ways, different messages. We see things, we hear things. Yesterday, another one, just prime example. I was actually in the town centre. I dropped my husband off because he had an appointment, and I thought, shall I go home? Got in the car, just about to start the car up, and I thought, I'm going to have to go and see Kath, which is my friend, my very good friend. She's in the 70s. And I thought, she needs me. So I rang her up and said, Kath. She was on the other phone. Sorry, I rang her first main phone line number, and it was engaged. So I rang her mobile. She picked the mobile up. She goes, Nita, I need you. And I'm like, right, okay. And she's been having a problem with the car insurance because she's got a new car. But it was just the fact that at that point, I was going to go home just before I got into the car. As soon as I got into the car, it completely told me, the voice in my head, or, I know sometimes I have clairvoyancy, I have sentience, I get cognizance as well. So I might not hear a voice, but I might just know I've got to do it. So that's what happened. I got in the car, and that's how I felt. I felt I've got to do it. I've got to ring her, because I knew something wasn't quite right, and she was struggling. So, these things do happen for a reason, and it is a big reason, even if it's just to help someone out with making sure that she's got a car insurance because she's got a new car coming today. Because, she was really, really struggling to get it sorted. And it took me about an hour to get it sorted in the end for her. But it just shows you how you can help others. It might be easy for you to control, but others may have real difficulty doing things. But our guides and angels and ascended masters all help us. Even animals, animal spirit help us, and living animals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And people, and quite often, it's happened to me this week, just a chance conversation with one of the ladies who comes into school, an external visitor. And she came in, and just through having a conversation about a line of work that she's taken down, gave me ideas on something I can do to promote my own business, my meditation course going forward. And that wasn't a chance encounter, that was a synchronicity, that conversation happening at that time about that thing. It's going to send me spiraling down a particular route, in the same way that, I might say something to somebody else that might get their thoughts going and send them down a different route, and it sort of helps you on your path. So absolutely, angels, animals, people that you meet on the streets or in the workplace, or an idea that a family member has, can be synchronistic too. It's amazing. I find it all very fascinating. So yeah, anyone else want to share?
Just Sorry, just on that subject with your cards, Anita.
Yes.
While you were talking, I was very rude. I watched you, and with my magical left hand out of view, I managed to pull out a card.
Okay.
And and because I realised that we're all going through changes one way or another, I would say mood swings as well, because we are driven by what's happening around us. We have good days, we have bad days. It's not perfect every day. You know, we're in the real world. And I drew this because, let me see if I can show it to you.
Oh wow, so the card says balance and it's Archangel Zadkiel. How beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you read the bottom bit, I'll read it to you. The need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing.
Wonderful.
You know, we need to rest. We do work, you know, be it in the house or be it in another building. We're working all the time. Our heads are working all the time. We're trying to connect with what's going on around us all the time. But we've got to balance that with our life. We need to rest. Some of us need to put our feet up, don't we, Jo? A little bit more than they do. They need a break. You're talking about changing your job. You know, you need that break in between, just to get balanced again, just for everything to settle, and take a minute just to breathe and be yourself. And if you're happy, we all laugh. If we're sad, we get through it, because we know it's a balance. So just bear that in mind. But that's I've drawn for every one of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that includes everybody who is watching or listening to us as well. Okay. Fantastic. Wonderful. Jo, would you like to share?
Yeah, so something synchronistic just happened right in front of our eyes.
It certainly did, because that was very relevant for us.
So I don't believe in coincidence. For me, everything that seems like a coincidence is a synchronicity. And I'm going to be really open and honest now. I've been really battling depression for the last few months. Even the job that I do and all the tools that I have, I'm not immune to stuff. And I'm also going through a shift spiritually. So my beliefs are changing, but I'm shifting and I'm moving away and letting go of some things that I was drawn to, and I'm welcoming in new stuff and other stuff, and remembering my passion for certain things. And as Mum and Jen pointed out with that card, anyone that knows me knows I work all the time. And so I don't work, it's my sleep, but even then I'm dreaming of stuff that I need to do and ideas and inspirations that are coming in, so I very rarely switch off. And I think it's a double-edged sword. So all the lockdowns the last 18 months were really good for me in the respect that it made me stop, because I physically couldn't go to work and open the doors manually and physically. But then that has led for the depression, because I couldn't do what I was meant to do and what I love. So it's been kind of a bit of a battle. But I made a promise that when we opened, I would spend more time finding balance. But it hasn't quite worked out like that. But it's not about things. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, but I do need to find more balance, and I'm kind of making a bit more time for myself. Even if I'm doing something on the computer, I'm still doing stuff for me. So my go-to at the moment has been Netflix, because I can binge watch it. I don't like waiting for the next episode because I'm too nosy and curious. But I've been trying to find things that resonate with me. So rather than just trash TV or reality TV, but I wanted to find something that really resonated. And Netflix isn't always the place to do that, but there was a synchronistic, a client had come in and said, oh, have you seen such a thing on Netflix? And it sounded really good. And I wouldn't have logged in that day in that particular moment had I not had the recommendation. But when I did, I saw an advert for this particular series, which isn't even English, it's a Turkish drama, and I don't like subtitles, but when I checked, it's not subtitled, it's dubbed. So I thought, oh, well, at least I'll hear it in English and I'll know what's going on. And it was all about soul journeys, sacred geometry, spirituality, past lives, future lives, dimensions of the world. So it was like, this is what I need. So I've kind of binge watched 3 seasons in the last 3 days.
And share for us to binge watch as well.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah, thank you.
Little synchronicities of, and I kind of knew that. I thought that. You just confirmed it for me. The person that wrote the series is clearly connected to spirit and has got the information, and because it's not, although it's supposed to be fiction, actually it's how it works. But then something came out of that, the reason that I was meant to watch that series. So the series itself is called The Gift, and completely unrelated to that, I have a subscription every month to a business club, and I get it's called a business box. So every month we get this box, and you get training with it, you log in, but you get little gifts. So you get 5 or 6 items in this box, and you never know what's going to come. There's usually always a marketing textbook in it. This month we got a stapler, which is rose gold. It looks very pretty, and just like things for your business, really. But in this month is a new deck of cards, which I actually thought to myself, I'm getting not fed up on my cards, but I wanted some new inspirational quotes and stuff. And this is actually 100 inspiring quotes. But when I chose a card for myself this morning, the card that I chose was "Life is the best gift," and that's literally what the series is about. The end scene is literally the main character is explaining how you need to live your life and how you need to see life as a gift, because that's what the series is called, even in the good and the bad times. And that was just synchronicity for me, because I preach that, teach that, but my mum's been a nurse all her life, and she always says doctors and nurses make the worst patients, and so do therapists. We give out all this care and advice, but we don't always take it for ourselves.
Plumber's pipe always leaks.
It was kind of synchronicity for me that, I do need to put that balance in, that balance card again, Mr. Synchronicity. And the other thing that I've noticed in the last few weeks is I've been getting messages of boundaries and not giving too much, because I'm quite guilty of that, hence why I work every hour God sends, because that's my passion, and it's my life's purpose is to help people, but I over help sometimes. And I had a reading with Anita week before last, and she gave me the most amazing message, and I really needed to hear it that day, because I've been through a really tough weekend. And then this morning, again, synchronicity, I'm in Ashley Mooney's Angel Circle. I very rarely see her live. I have to watch the replays, and I can be months behind. So I'm never on the Angel of the Month, because I forget to watch them. And I just happened to be at home, and she popped up in a notification to say that she was live on Facebook. And I thought, God, I've got half an hour, I'm going to listen to her live. And it was actually a Q&A. So she said, does anyone have any questions? So I asked a question, and I was the first person she read for, and literally told me the same thing that Anita told me last week. It was like, bang. Yes, I need to listen. Synchronicity. And it's going to keep happening until I get the message. So yeah, that's what I've noticed. And Claire would tell you this if she was on, because she's the queen of manifestation and synchronicities. The more you notice them, the more they happen.
Yeah.
Come into your awareness.
Yeah. I'll tell you another big one that's happened this week is around the idea of podcasts, because we've been running these videos now in our Facebook group for a few weeks, and the content on them has been absolutely brilliant. We're absolutely loving doing them. The questions that are coming up, the conversations that are coming out of them have just been phenomenal, and we're always absolutely buzzing by the time they come off. And I just had the thought last week, we need to do a podcast. And from mentioning the podcast to going online in one of the groups, I don't know whether some of you have heard of Rob Moore, he was doing a bit of a 5-day challenge. And I went on his group, and a Q&A he was doing, he spoke about podcasts and why you should do podcasts, and a few tips on how to do podcasts. And then the next thing, in my email box, there's a thing, oh, get this free guide on podcasts. So, you know, it was like, that's not a coincidence. You know, if it was just an ad coming up on Facebook, that's Facebook listening. Google listening. You know, I do think some of them maybe are coincidences that you're saying things and they're coming up, but for it to come up in somebody's discussion, you know, they're not listening to what you're saying when they're going live on their calls. That's synchronicity, you know, and that was exactly what we needed here to give us the push to say, yeah, let's do a podcast, let's get this out there so it can reach more people, you know. And it's really exciting. Yeah, so
it is fascinating.
Oh, it is, it really is.
It is by design. But it isn't until you look back and you go, okay, so that happened, so that could happen, so that could happen, and you see where all the links are. But then you realise it is by design.
Yeah, and when you sort of trace things back. The other thing is, and we've said this before again with angel signs, but angel numbers, you know, what are the odds on the same number coming up and you're seeing them? What are the odds of you looking at your clock at 11:11 and then seeing 11:11 on a till receipt, or, you know, or on somebody's number plate or whatever, you know, at the same time? So those repeating numbers, those recurring numbers, that's not coincidence, that's synchronicity, and that means that there's a message for you somewhere. So, you know, go online, look up angel number 11:11, you know, spiritual number 11:11, what does that mean? And find out, what is that message that's coming through? Why are you seeing that number? And there's loads of information out there on Google about that. But yeah, more amazing synchronicities for you to look out for.
You can also, as well, while you're doing that, you can actually use your deck of cards, and you can actually see if it was 11:11, pick up the deck of cards that you actually are tuned to, how you're drawn to even, and then, you know, count the 11th card, and then give a shuffle and do the same again. So you've got 2 cards, and you can guarantee that one of them will be very much either a number 1 in them, or you might even find you've picked out number 11. You know, it's again, these things happen.
Yeah,
the universe is very clever.
very.
It is. And it'll give you a message then. That's another way of doing it, but you're using your own intuition to actually get that information through as well.
Yeah.
Got me at it now, Anita.
Just come to me, I just thought. But again, it's, you know, as time goes on and we're developing more, we're picking up different ways of, especially with divination, because obviously everyone knows that I love divination, and this week I've put a question out there. If anyone wants anything answering about divination, just drop me a post and I can get back to you.
Yeah.
So it's just another thing.
On the podcast, if you're not in the group, do come and join us on our Facebook group. We'll put a link in the comments below. And again, as I say to everyone every week, whether you're watching us on Facebook Live, whether you're listening to us on the podcast, please do share your own experiences and thoughts in the comments. Add your questions to the comments for us to answer, or for others to answer who are in the group. We're all about sharing, you know. So if you know a lot about it, you've had a lot of experience with synchronicity, you know a lot about angel numbers, come in, pop your comments and share. You know, we're all sort of in this together. We're all here to raise our vibes, and you know, that's what we do, and that's for you to do, that's for us to do, that's for us all to do together. Let's raise each other's vibrations through sharing and yeah, just helping each other.
And how else are we going to learn?
Exactly.
Unless we share. But I've just got number 11, so I'm going to share it with you. And
Okay.
it's telling you to stand your ground.
Yes. That's another one
Stand
that's
your
been coming
ground.
to me.
Defend your beliefs and decisions. Choose your battles wisely.
That's such a synchronicity.
It
So I'm
is.
sending that out to everybody.
Fantastic. I
No,
love it.
that's brought up an important point, hasn't it? Because I think when you look at what your interests are and what your beliefs are, a lot of us that are believing in angels or believing in ascended masters or do healing, we almost don't always want to tell people because we're worried that we'll be ridiculed or somebody will be not very nice to us. I think we hide that aspect of ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. And
I
that's
used to be like that, but now I will actually say I'm a healer. I don't say I'm a Reiki healer or I'm angelic, whatever. I just say, do you need some healing? Because somebody will come up to me and, oh, I've got a terrible head or I've got a bad back. And they find me. So I now believe it's my purpose in life to be there when it's needed. And they will say to me, I've got a bad back. And if they would like some healing, I will give them some healing. So I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm not ashamed of it. But in the same respect, I'm not I'm,
In your
you know,
yeah. Brilliant. The other thing I want to add to that as well is, like you were saying, Joe, that some people don't like to share, they're worried about sharing. Sometimes it's about finding the right group that you feel safe in. So if you're interested in spiritualism and you want to share and you want to open up, then find people who are like-minded, who understand and who get it, and join it. Join us on our Facebook group. You know, we're open to sharing. But for those of you who are in the Facebook group as well, most of you have joined us because you want to learn more and you want to develop, but you're only going to develop by having a go. So quite often we'll post little prompts in there to encourage you to have a go, whether it's to try reading a card, you know, read a card for somebody above. Anita posted an amazing post the other day with the cat, and just tune into the cat and see what you see, feel, hear. And that's what animal communication is, and it's an amazing experience. Who wouldn't want to do that? So don't be shy and worried about having a go. We're here to practice and build it up. So what if you have it go and you get some of it wrong? Then you get something wrong. You have a go. What you find is you will more than likely get more of it right. And another thing I'll tell you is nobody gets it 100% right. It is not possible to give any sort of reading and get it 100% right. You know, they say the most gifted get 75% of it right. And that can be scary, but what you've got to know is just tune in, just trust yourself, just say what you're given and get it out there. And that is scary, and that's put me off in the past. But do you know something? When I've actually done it, I've had really good feedback, and it's only through doing it that you practice and you get better. So don't worry, don't think, well, how can I do that? Don't let your head dictate your actions. You're in a group for spiritual development. Have a go, practice, develop. You know, you've got so much support around you, and you'll be really surprised what you get back. And for those of you listening on a podcast, if that's something that you want to develop, again, come into our Facebook group. It's safe. We're all here to support and help each other, and we would love to see you in there. So thank you. Anyone want to add anything, or are we
I just want to say, obviously, you know, without working with you guys, you know, we wouldn't be able to develop as we have. You know, obviously I've worked with Joe for such a long time, and you know, I wouldn't be at the stage I'm at now without learning and taking. Sometimes you have to take criticism, but you'll find in this group you won't get it. If you understand what I mean, we're not judgmental at all. We've been there, we've done it. You know, we can give you the support that you need. So don't be afraid. Obviously, we're putting the posts out there. please have a go, because we know that you will get it right. You'll get most of it right. It doesn't matter. If you only get one thing right, it doesn't matter, because what you're doing is you're progressing and you're growing. And that's what we want you to do. So it's giving you that support.
You're flexing your psychic muscles, you're flexing your intuition, and that this is what it's all about. It's whatever your interests are, whatever your beliefs, as Mel said, you're here for a reason, and we're all like-minded. We might like different things within that category of spirituality, but there are so many different. That's why we were thinking about changing the name of the group, because we are so much more than just angels, ascended masters and animals. But it doesn't matter what is your cup of tea, you're still interested in developing your own intuition, your own gifts, and we're all born with them. It's just about tapping into that. And if you think about our topic tonight was synchronicity, think about what that word actually means, the definition of it in the dictionary. It means to be together, it means to be in tune, in sync. And we've all got that ability, and we lose it. We've just got to get it back.
But we're all in tune for one another, aren't we?
Yeah.
Nobody learns to walk without falling over a few times.
That's how we learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it also makes life easier when you're in tune and in sync with the universe, with the divine, whatever word you want to use to describe. It's so much easier when you're in sync than when you're not.
And the other thing I would say is don't compare yourself, because we're all at different stages of our journey. We've all started at the beginning, but we've all gone in different directions. I can't do the same thing that Jo does, the same thing that Anita does, the same thing that Mama Jen does. But I do something different that's unique to me. And there are some things that I do that the others don't do, because we're all different and we've all got unique gifts. Likewise, you know, whether you're listening, whether you're watching this, you've also got your own unique gifts. You might not know what they are yet, but that doesn't mean that they won't develop. In order to develop them, you need to start practicing and trying different things, and then all of a sudden you will surprise yourself on, you know, exactly what does come up for you. So yeah, join us.
You're practicing in a very, very safe environment. And that's the important thing. You're surrounded by love to keep you going and to help you on your way, to guide you, to direct you to the right place. And that's how we get here.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, definitely. And so it is. Okay, well, it is now 5 to 8, and I think another amazing call. Lots of absolute golden nuggets there for you all to take away and learn from, whether you pull a card for yourself, whether you practice at home with your loved ones, whether you join us in the group. You know, it doesn't matter. I hope every single one of you who are watching or listening have got something from this. Again, do share, do post in the comments, even if it's just to say, hello, I've heard you, hello, I've seen you, you know, tell us what you've learned from this episode, and, you know, share your own experiences. We'd love to hear them. Okay, it's nice to know that we're not just talking to the ether. Okay, so I just want to say tonight, thanks Joanne, thanks Jenny, Mama Jen, thanks Anita, and I never introduced myself at the start, but I'm Melanie Appleyard as well, and it's been an absolute pleasure as always talking to you today. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.